Ever wondered how billions of illicit dollars vanish into thin air each year? Welcome, dear listeners, to the intricate world of money laundering. Money laundering, in essence, is the process by which criminals make dirty money earned from illegal activities appear clean and legitimate. It's a global phenomenon, a shadowy undercurrent that silently fuels the engines of organized crime, from drug trafficking to international terrorism. Imagine this: a clandestine network operating in the shadows, moving billions each year with the precision of a symphony conductor and the stealth of a cat burglar. It's a game of smoke and mirrors, a magic trick on a grand scale where money disappears here and reappears there, scrubbed clean of its notorious past. But what makes this all possible? Well, let's shine a light on some of the key players. At the center of this enigma often are our very own trusted financial institutions, the banks. Yes, you heard it right. Banks, knowingly or unknowingly, play a pivotal role in this clandestine ballet. They provide the stage, the props, and sometimes even the orchestration for this grand spectacle of deceit. And then there are offshore accounts. These are like hidden treasure chests, buried deep under layers of secrecy and legal protection. They are the perfect hideouts for those seeking to stash away their ill-gotten wealth, safe from prying eyes and the long arm of the law. But why should we care? Isn't this just a game of cat and mouse between criminals and law enforcement? Well, not quite. Money laundering is a cancer that eats away at the very fabric of our societies, undermining economies, destabilizing governments, and eroding public trust. So, are you intrigued? Are you ready to dive deeper into the labyrinth of money laundering, to uncover its secrets and to understand its far-reaching consequences? If so, then stick around to unravel the mystery behind this invisible crime. Welcome to Optima Wealth Center. Money laundering begins with dirty money, but what makes money dirty? Let's delve deeper into this. When we talk about dirty money, we're referring to the proceeds of illicit activities. These could be anything from drug trafficking, organized crime, smuggling, corruption, fraud. The list is endless. Each of these activities generates huge sums of money, yet the challenge for those involved is not just earning it, but enjoying it without raising eyebrows. Imagine you're a drug lord with millions to your name. You can't just walk into a luxury car dealership and buy a top-of-the-range sports car in cash without someone becoming suspicious. So, what do? You clean the money. You make it appear as if it came from a legitimate source, and that's where money laundering comes in. Money laundering is like a magic trick. It's all about illusion and misdirection. The dirty money is the rabbit in the hat, and the magician, the launderer, has to make it disappear and then reappear as clean, legitimate cash. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before the magic happens, there's a whole process of acquiring this dirty money. For instance, a drug dealer might sell narcotics and collect cash in small amounts over a wide area. This is the first layer of the dirty money onion. It's risky, it's dangerous, but it's profitable. Then there are more sophisticated operations. Take corruption, for instance. Here, dirty money might originate from bribes or embezzlement. It could be a high-ranking official siphoning off public funds, or a businessman paying kickbacks for contracts. In these cases, the dirty money might already be in the financial system, disguised as legitimate transactions. So, now we understand that dirty money is essentially the proceeds of crime. It's the cash that criminals need to clean to enjoy their ill-gotten gains. It's the starting point of the money laundering process. So now we know where the dirty money comes from, but how does it disappear? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the murky world of money laundering in our next segment. Money laundering operates in a three-step cycle: placement, layering, integration. These three steps might sound like dance moves, but they're far from it. They're the choreography of making illegal funds appear legitimate. Let's break it down. First up, we have placement. This is the initial stage of the laundering process. Here, the launderer introduces the illicit money into the financial system. This might be done in a variety of ways, such as depositing large amounts of cash into a bank account or purchasing assets with the illegal funds. The goal here is to get the dirty money into the system without raising any eyebrows. It's a risky move, like stepping out onto the dance floor for the first time. Next, we have layering. This is the most complex stage of the process, where the launderer starts to move the money around to obscure its origins. It's a whirl of transactions, often bouncing money between different accounts, across different banks, and even in different countries. The aim is to create a confusing paper trail to throw off any investigators. Think of it as a complicated tango full of twists and turns designed to disorient and bewilder. Finally, we have integration. This is the final step where the now clean money is reintroduced into the legitimate economy. The launderer might invest in legal businesses, buy luxury items, or simply spend it. At this point, the money is virtually indistinguishable from legitimate funds. It's the grand finale of the dance, where the launderer takes a bow, and if they've done their job well, nobody is any the wiser. And just like that, dirty money becomes clean. Sounds simple, right? But remember, this is a dance that takes two, the launderer and the unwary system that allows it to happen. The more we understand the steps, the better chance we have of stopping the music. Banks play a crucial role in this sophisticated crime. But how? Let's dive into that. Banks, the very institutions we trust to safeguard our wealth, can sometimes become entangled in the murky world of money laundering, serving as unwitting accomplices in this criminal enterprise. Often, this involvement isn't even intentional. It might simply be a case of well-crafted deception by the launderers, who are experts at making illegal funds appear legitimate. They deposit the dirty money into a bank account, then break it down into smaller deposits to avoid suspicion, a process known as structuring or smurfing. This way they can bypass the bank's reporting thresholds, which usually kick in for transactions over $10,000. Other times, the banks might be more than just innocent bystanders. In some cases, financial institutions have been accused of turning a blind eye to suspicious activity or even facilitating these illicit transfers. Notable examples include the infamous case of the Panama Papers, where shell corporations were used to hide the true owners of bank accounts, or the case of Danske Bank, where more than $200 billion were allegedly laundered through its Estonian branch, marking one of the largest money laundering scandals in history. But why would a bank risk its reputation by getting involved in such activities? Well, it's all about the money. Banks earn income from transaction fees, and larger deposits mean larger fees. Some may choose to ignore the red flags in pursuit of these financial gains. However, it's important to note that many banks have robust systems in place to detect and prevent money laundering. They are required by law to report suspicious transactions, and failure to do so can result in hefty fines and damaged reputations. In conclusion, while banks can serve as conduits for money laundering, they are certainly not the only cogs in this complex machine. There are other players and methods involved, which we'll explore in the next segment. Banks might be the unsuspecting accomplices in this crime, but they're not the only ones. Offshore accounts, the perfect hideout for dirty money, but why? Well, let's break it down. Offshore accounts, in essence, are bank accounts located outside one's home country. They're often associated with tax havens, places with very low or non-existent tax rates. Now, these accounts have a certain allure to them, and not just for the mega-wealthy looking to dodge taxes. They're also a favorite among money launderers. You see, offshore accounts provide a level of anonymity that's hard to match. Many tax havens have laws in place that protect the identities of account holders. This means that tracing the origins of the money becomes a Herculean task, making these accounts an attractive prospect for those looking to hide illicit funds. But that's not all. Offshore accounts also offer a certain degree of flexibility. Money can be moved around with ease, often without triggering the same level of scrutiny as domestic transactions. This makes it easier for money launderers to obscure the trail of dirty money, as they can rapidly shift funds between multiple accounts across different jurisdictions. Another key advantage is the lack of oversight. In many tax havens, regulation is lax and enforcement is often weak. This creates a conducive environment for money laundering, as the risk of detection is significantly reduced. Now, it's worth noting that not all offshore accounts are used for illicit purposes. Many are used for completely legitimate reasons, but the features that make these accounts appealing to law-abiding citizens and corporations, privacy, flexibility, and low taxes, are the same features that attract money launderers. So while offshore accounts may seem like a distant, abstract concept to many of us, they're a very real and integral part of the global financial system. They're a tool that can be used for good or ill, depending on whose hands they're in. Offshore accounts are just one of the many tools in a money launderer's toolbox. Money laundering doesn't just affect the criminals, it affects all of us. In the grand scheme of things, the impact of money laundering is like a stone thrown into a pond, creating ripples that extend far beyond the initial splash. Let's dive into the societal, economic, and political impacts of this illicit activity. At its core, money laundering fuels and propagates crime. The process allows criminals to enjoy the spoils of their illicit activities without raising eyebrows. This, in turn, incentivizes more crime, creating a vicious cycle that's hard to break. From drug trafficking to terrorism, money laundering is the grease that keeps these criminal wheels turning. On an economic level, the effects are equally profound. When money is laundered, it often flows out of economies that need it most and into offshore accounts and tax havens. This deprives governments of valuable resources that could be used for development and social services. Moreover, the influx of illicit money can distort a country's economy, inflating property and commodity prices and making life more expensive for everyone. Politically, money laundering can undermine the integrity of public institutions. When dirty money seeps into the political sphere, it can lead to corruption, eroding public trust and destabilizing governments. This can create a breeding ground for social unrest and political upheaval. But the effects of money laundering aren't confined within national borders. It's a global concern. In today's interconnected world, laundered money can move across countries and continents in the blink of an eye. This can spread economic instability and political corruption like a contagion, affecting global financial systems and societies at large. As you can see, the effects of money laundering are far-reaching. It's not just a problem for law enforcement or financial institutions, it's a challenge for all of us, one that requires a collective and concerted effort to tackle. After all, when it comes to the impact of money laundering, we're all in the same boat. The fight against money laundering is a global effort, but can we ever win? In the chess game of financial transactions, it's not just about making the right moves, it's about spotting the wrong ones too. This is the essence of our fight against money laundering. It's a complex game of cat and mouse, where the stakes are high and the rules are constantly changing. In this battle, the first weapon is legislation. Countries around the world have enacted laws to make money laundering a criminal offense. From the United States Bank Secrecy Act to the European Union's Fourth Anti-Money Laundering Directive, these laws mandate financial institutions to implement strict controls to detect and report suspicious transactions. They are the shields that protect our financial systems from illicit money flows. But laws alone are not enough. It takes a network of dedicated individuals and organizations to enforce them. This is where financial intelligence units, or FIUs, come into play. These are government bodies that collect and analyze information about financial transactions to combat money laundering, terrorism financing, and other economic crimes. They are the eyes and ears on the ground, spotting the hidden patterns that could signal illicit activities. Yet, despite our best efforts, we face the relentless evolution of money laundering tactics. Traditional methods have given way to sophisticated schemes, facilitated by the rise of digital currencies and online platforms. They represent a new frontier in our fight, where the lines between the legal and the illicit are blurred. So, can we ever win this fight? The answer isn't simple. It's not just about catching the bad guys. It's about staying one step ahead, adapting to new challenges, and constantly improving our defenses. It's about fostering international cooperation, sharing information and best practices. It's about raising awareness and promoting ethical behavior in the financial sector. But most importantly, it's about each and every one of us. We all have a role to play, whether as consumers, employees, or citizens. By being vigilant, by asking questions, by reporting suspicious activities, we can contribute to this global effort. The battle against money laundering continues, and every one of us has a role to play. Money laundering might seem like a distant crime, but it's closer than you think. Let's quickly revisit what we've unraveled today. We've dissected the enigma of money laundering, examined the dirty money that fuels this underworld, and walked you through the three-step laundry cycle used to cleanse it. We've also delved into the role of banks and offshore accounts, the perfect hideouts for this tainted cash, and discussed the devastating impacts of money laundering on society and economies worldwide. But remember, knowledge is power. By understanding how this dark process works, we can all play a part in combating it. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and keep questioning. As we continue to shed light on these shadowy corners of the financial world, we make it harder for these illicit activities to go unnoticed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the shadowy world of money laundering. Welcome to Optima Wealth Center,